presentation, my topic of presentation is women's political participation and electoral behavior in rural Georgia. Since I've been working mainly with the regional, region in the understanding of field organizations for Georgia, I will be talking about the political participation and the process the women politicians undergo, and especially during the last several elections, that through my organization I had a chance to observe during the election process. So the objective of my presentation is to talk about greater gender equality. That was a big initiative by UNFPA, during which UNFPA tried to enforce women's political participation and generally women's rights in Georgia and in Caucasus. Greater gender equality, what's happening de jure and de facto, and analyze the reasons behind numbers, like women in parliaments average is almost 16%, which increased to 20%, but in Georgia it's still under 10%. Election types and voting systems that will increase the women's participation, but my colleagues will be talking about it in a bigger portion, so I will not touch that. And stereotypes, cultural beliefs, norms and statistics that NDI has conducted, and findings of this survey. What do actually voters think, and what do they say during the surveys? Like, what is their attitude to women politicians, women candidates, and what is the result, what they actually do, for whom they actually vote. So, and what is the solution? So, I will not go into details because my previous presenters have been talking about all the norms that Georgia has adapted, and I think it's same for all other South Caucasus countries. De jure, we are all in line with all international norms and regulations. But in fact, we live in a male-dominated world, where out of 190 states globally, only 17 have female leaders, and globally women represent only 20% of all MPs, like all around the world. And the UNDP's 2013 World Economics Forum and Survey, Gender Inequality Index is still high in Georgia. It is on the 81st place out of 147 countries, and the World Gender Data shows it as on the 86th place out of 136 countries. So this covers all the parameters. It includes early marriages, it includes access to healthcare and education, or education and employment rights of women. So we cannot boast that we are any better than any other South Caucasus countries. So as for the gaps in legal framework that protect women's rights, one of them, again, like if we want women's rights and women's issues to be hanging on the surface and to be always be on the agenda of politicians, then we need women candidates. And we need women candidates not only in like on national level, but in local government level, especially on local government level, because these are the women who can bring the issues from down to up and not vice versa. So we don't need solutions from up to down, because this has been the approach so far. That's why probably we have not changed a lot. So practice, so it's a quotation, I cannot claim it's mine, but so in the system which we have, like the mix of proportional and majoritarian system, for countries like Georgia, proportional election system should be preferred. It's strongly supported, it's preferable. But my colleagues, again, will be talking about this, so I won't touch this. This is the Gender Inequality Index, and you see Georgia on which place. While given the statistical data, the population of Georgia overall is almost like female, as you see on the scale. This is according to 2012 household survey of National Statistics Office of Georgia. We have comparatively more women than men as a population, but still, although the majority of population is female, as of 2013, women constituted 25.6% of members of parliaments through the world, with Georgia significantly lagging behind. As following the 2012 parliamentary elections, women were able to secure only 12% of mandates. Consequently, Georgia is ranked number 1, as I said. So gender imbalance is evident in the executive authorities as well as in local government. So What's happening in Sacrobulus, that's what we call local municipal councils after elections of 2014, local government elections. 71 self-governed units have only 11.6% of women. Out of 183 elected candidates, only 242 are women. And I need to say, like, we had a big propaganda and lobbying and advocating for women candidates going on prior to all these 3 elections, but especially before the local government elections. I remember a number of women's networks or think tanks and just women activists, I don't know, leading all the campaign in support of women candidates. Most of international observing organizations, like with the observing mandate, they were training these women candidates so they come to the politics prepared and nobody tells them, you know, like, men go in front of you because you like this, and this experience. But still we have this unfortunate picture when in some of the municipalities we don't even have women candidates. So this is the picture compared to 2010, and I'm sorry, it's not, you cannot see it probably, but in 2014 the picture is much worse. Like if in 2010, members of Sacrobulus totally were 1550, and I'm sorry, where's this cave? I'll see it now. Sorry, I'll show this figure. In 2014, we have only, and we had more candidates per se, 2083, and the number of women members was only 241. I mean, in numbers it's a increase, but if you see the percentage, it's like compared to how many candidates we have totally, there's not a big difference, so to say. And these are the municipalities, Tel Aviv, Poti, Tzalka, Aspinza, and Mscheta, where they don't have women candidates at all. And sometimes, like statisticians, I don't know, Central Election Commission, they sometimes attribute this to the number of population. But this, like smaller population, they don't have a chance to withdraw women candidates. But in fact, I mean, these are quite highly populated municipalities for Georgia. Tel Aviv, Poti, one of the cities, Tzalka, Aspinza, and Mscheta, they have zero women in their local government. So this is again the percentage of Tetriz, Arokeda, Oni, Adigeni. This is where we have women and men represented, but the blue one is, this is how women are represented in their local governments. So this is again gender composition of Sacrobulus. That includes Tbilisi, but not Tbilisi national level, but Sacrobulus level. So it's 22% for Tbilisi, 17% for Guria, because there is one particular municipality, Ozurgeti, where they have really solid representation of women. And I've tried to find out the reasons, and the only reason was that they had, like most political parties, they have women as candidates in their first chance of the candidate list. And I will be talking about candidate list as well later. So this is composition, again, rates of women representation for 2010 and 2014. So this is the difference. The red one is for 2010 and blue is for 2014. So in some cases you see slight increase, but again, I'm saying that's attributed to the fact that we had more candidates in this case, in this year. So gender balance in mountainous municipalities, this is not very much different. I specifically picked up this like slide just to show that sometimes we have this tendency of talking about different trends in Tbilisi and in regions, and regions are different, but in Tbilisi we don't have so much problems, but in fact we do. I mean, this is not very much different from the capital. So these were the women's representation in individual parties, so this covers both local level and national level, so I won't go into details of this. But this is generally statistics of women and men ratio in public sector. So this is how women and men are distributed. And I'm not talking now, I will not go into details what is the education level of women in Georgia. Like if you look at these numbers, like majority of women get higher education, but they don't have a chance to be employed on the high positions or in the same salary range as men with similar or even lower education. So this is the distribution, and it's in majority of cases in favor of men. Statistical data for Ministry of Internal Affairs, so as you see, this is men and this is women. Data for people employed by non-military government institutions, and so this is the, but majority, like the difference is not big in this case, but it also calls administrative positions. So in administrative positions, women are okay, so they are represented pretty well, solidly. So I will not go into these details because this is mainly more Ms. Charita's under her. Okay, so this has been the trend in local governments, local government elections starting from 1998. So as you see, we have a decrease by 2014. And we have not a single mayor of any city out of 18 self-governing cities, I think, but even other cities, they don't have women candidates. So this is a unfortunate decline of women's participation instead of progress. And these are comparisons with other countries. I just brought some international experience of the latest. Like, what I would like you particularly to pay attention is these figures. Like, women candidates, if they withdrew 32%, like 20% of them at least got the seats, mandates. While, if you see it in Georgia, out of 400, like when women candidates represented 60%, only 22% of them got actual mandates. So this again leads to to ask a question: what does the voters think? Like, what is their attitude and what is their final behavior? How do they actually vote? Because NDI conducted a survey, and I will be talking about this, and I will finish soon. Conducted a survey about the attitude. What do voters actually think about women candidates? And in this survey does not show that men or women voters particularly strongly believe in men candidates only because they are men. They don't think that men can act or behave or work better than women on the same education level. So this is the attitude in surveys, but these are the numbers. So what are the factors that contribute to women's participation? Only three electoral subjects nominated women candidates in the first 5 places of their priority party list. So meaning that, so it's clear what's meant under this. Like, they had some women for the statistics, but nobody put them in the first 5th places. Like, they were 16th or 20th in their list. So this means they don't get a chance. So my colleague will be talking about the improvements for that. In total, the 12 election subjects nominated 13 women. That is 10.8% of all nominated candidates. Like, that's the number of candidates. But the number of female majoritarian candidates was 57. And in 33 out of 75 majority electoral districts, no women were nominated at all. Okay, so next is the thinking behind politicians. Okay, what do they think? They apply the standard gender pyramid of power in their political party, inter-party democracy system. So they make decisions on higher level, they decide the budget of the party, they decide but everything else is done by women on the lower level, like administration, PR, talking about bringing supporters into the party, and still then we have what we have. So that's it, and I just wanted to finish with this positive note, and this is the results of NDI survey. If somebody wants to look at this in details, I'll be happy to do that, to share it with you. But I strongly believe in what Ms. Lika believes too, that next elections, Feminist Party will be there. So I hope we'll win.